Well, all right, all right, all right. Hope everyone is feeling good. Hope you don't have that Thanksgiving hangover. And I hope you enjoyed that new intro that Gina and I put together. So I went and got some music and gave her some ideas, and she worked on that and put it together for us. So we're working towards something a little bit different for the new year. We'll get there. And got a funny story I want to share with everybody. We're just going to hit the ground running here, as usual. Listened to Dan Bongino's show today, and so did the wife. And he said something in his show today that I said last night. And it was really funny because the wife brought it up and she goes, "You just said that last night." And I go, "Yep." And what it was is I was sitting putting a bunch of notes together. I was finding some clips that I wanted to talk about on the show. And I had already had a dead set in my head that we were going to talk about the sterilization and some of these women out there who have just totally lost their minds when it comes to the reproductive rights issue, and they're scared to death of Donald Trump. So that is still the main focus of the show. But I was going to talk about the Thanksgiving hangover. We were just going to like be happy and joyful, and like the Kamala Harris was supposed to be, the whole administration and campaign about joy and happiness. But then I saw all the breaking news that he did it. And I'm like, he did what? He did it. I go, he did what? Joe Biden, he did it. You know how the story went. He pardoned Hunter, his son. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I turn around and I look at the wife and I go, I just got this whole show set up. I'm finished. Now it's all changed. So here we are. We're going to talk a little bit about Joe Biden pardoning his son
I have
Hunter.
really mixed feelings about this.
It's crazy though, isn't it?
It is. We all knew it was
Jeez.
coming, even though we said he wasn't going to do it.
Oh, I thought he would actually. I really did think he was going to do it eventually. I just didn't think he was going to do it this soon. I figured he'd wait until he was going out the door. So, um, and to be honest, I figured that if he did stay in the running for the presidency and didn't get pushed out, they didn't do the coup against him. I thought for sure that he would do it right before or whatever. He would take care of it later. But I think since he had to step down and got pushed out, and then the way it's all starting to transpire, I think he felt that I have to do this. So, but anyway, yeah, you know what? We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to jump right into one of our sponsors and get this out of the way because it's very important. I drink 2 cups of this stuff, the Brutal Awakening. We talk about this all the time. I got some 1776 over here, the Blackout Coffee. Really good stuff. If you haven't ordered any, please do so. But here's what you need to know about the Blackout Coffee process. It's all done in-house. That means they do it themselves down in Florida. They source premium specialty grade green coffee beans, which are graded at 80 points or above on a 100-point scale. Specialty coffees are grown at the perfect altitude, at the perfect time of year, in the best soil, and then harvested at just the right time. They work with local co ops and farmers that grow this high quality coffee, and they adopt a strict adherence to small batch roasting of their coffee. Blackout coffee is roasted, packed, and shipped with lightning speed, usually within 24 to 48 hours of you ordering it. And this means you get the beans just days after they're roasted. The combination of their premium coffee beans, highly controlled roasted process, and immediate shipping gives you, the customer, an elite coffee experience. And this is very, very true. We just ordered a 5-pound bag of this Brutal Awakening, and it does wake you brutally. It literally does. So it's not a joke. It's like twice the caffeine. So if you want to bounce off the walls, you want to get up and go deer hunting or sit in that stand or whatever you're going to do in freezing weather, get yourself some of this Brutal Awakening from Blackout Coffee. And as always, you can go to blackoutcoffee.com and use the discount code LOUB, that's LOUB20, for a one-time 20% off discount. And for all of you who've been following us for so long, if you know the routine, go down into the show description, click on the link if you've already used this, and you can use any other promo that they're using in unison with this. Just keep using the same link when you order more. So it does help support the show. All right, enough of that. We got that out of the way. And trying to see who all's in here. 17 George, thank you for joining us. Fight for Freedom, I see is in here. Francis. Lori Lee, COVID is a bitch, guys. Feel crappy. I am so sorry to hear that. So I think Terry was down too. I had just texted with her a little while ago. She's got some kind of flu or bug or something. So it's going around,
Yep.
no doubt. And actually, before we went live, Gina was saying that, well, you go ahead. You were telling me about the fires and how you all been feeling. So go ahead.
Yeah. So we had fires down at our reservoir. We had a fire at, the hill / mountain that's down the street. And we had a fire down the other one. And ever since those, the last couple of weeks, all of us here just can't stop coughing. There's something going around. And it's not just my house. Everyone's got this like nasally thing going on, this cough, no fevers, which is wonderful, but there's just something that just won't quit.
Yeah, maybe it's like that Palestine, Ohio thing. Maybe they're, the fires, they put some chemicals in there. They're trying to kill everybody off up there. That's pretty sad,
I
but
don't
you
know.
never
It's
know.
Massachusetts.
Exactly. If you're in the Boston area, we've seen some of the politicians up in that area and pretty crazy stuff. So you never know. But then again, it is that time of year where things are going around. And I always encourage everyone who can. I know we talk about this all the time, but if you can go get that specific drug, that drug. If you can get that one or maybe some of the other ones that we like to talk about all the time,
The
go get
active.
some of that. I mean, you can take it prophylactically, and if you take it after you catch it, it's going to make it go away so much more quicker. So some of you can take it because you don't have any underlying issues. Some of you can't, so you're going to do the best you can. But anyway, figure out what you need to do for each individual case, and move forward cautiously. All right, so we're going to get rolling here. I want to start out since we were talking about this again. You get all this stuff planned. I don't even know why I plan a show anymore because it always changes last minute. There's always something that comes up that's like, okay, well, I have to add this, so I got to push this down or move this around. It just happens. Our news cycle never stops. It's like constant breaking news anymore. And it makes me kind of yearn for the old days where you might not get a story that happened around the world or on the other side of the world for like a week or later, and it finally makes its way to us here in the States, and then we were told about it. There's something special about those days because we knew less, and I would gather to say that we were probably much happier knowing less about what was actually going on around us in the world. So sounds crazy, but I actually feel that's true. All right, so here's Joe Biden, and it's like four little clips all in one from back in July of 2024 this year, telling us that he's not going to, uh, pardon his son, or this one might actually be the one where he just says no one's above the law, but it's the same thing. So let's check it out.
I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down. Those responsible can be held accountable. In my administration, no one is above the law.
No one is above the law except for anybody?
Oh, Hunter.
Hunter Biden, my
Kind of
son.
sounds like the man behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. There you go. 17 George says, looked out the window when I told my mom about that fire in Boston to see a whiteout. Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff. But there you go. So we have Joe Biden telling us he's been telling us for a long time that no one is above the law because it always pertained to Donald Trump at that point in time. And now he's telling us all the way up until even when he knew that his son was getting ready to be sentenced, I think it was on the 12th of this month, just like a little over a week away. And he had already pled guilty to what was it, like 3 or 4 federal charges of gun charges or whatever. So it was federal charges that he
Yeah.
did plead guilty to. And I think, Joe knew what was coming and figured the easiest way to get out of this. Oh, and by the way, before I go any further, for that clip, thank you to the at Western Lensman for he's got great content all the time. So we really need to do a better job of calling these out when we know what clips they are and who they're from, because they make our job so much easier by putting this content out there for us to snatch up. And it's only right that we call, give them a shout out for the great work that they do. So again, at Western Lensman always has some really good content. So check them out if you haven't, or follow them on X. But yeah, so I think he just felt that he was backed up to the wall or into a corner, and he knew that he could use a lot of these different excuses that Donald Trump was going to go after him and make an example of him and all this. And I even said something on X in a post. I don't think that Donald Trump or Cash Patel or anybody else that would be part of the FBI or the DOJ, I don't think any of them were looking at any of these small, what I would call small charges dealing with Hunter Biden. I think they were after the bigger fish. I think they were going after the stuff that the Ukraine, Burisma, all of these things, the Tony Bobolinsky thing that came out, which I have a clip on that. And I think that that's where he thought, you know what? We're just going to use these excuses. We're going to tell everybody that's why we changed our mind, because he was unjustly targeted, which we've been hearing about this all day today. And when you listen to the news reports, all these legacy media people are talking about this, and they're pushing this content out that, oh, well, he was, put out there under the light and the microscope unjustly. And we all know that that's a lie. That was not what happened. They did that to Donald Trump. Nobody did that to Hunter Biden. Again, he confessed and pled guilty to these charges. And there was more charges coming up where he had tax evasion and other things. And then just after the pardon, I don't know if anybody caught this, but there was somebody out in California. I forget what town it was, but he rented from someone out there, and he still owes that landlord, the owner of that property that Hunter rented. He still owes him like $310,000 that he never paid for rent. So this guy's just got a background.
310,000?
It's something like that. Yeah, somebody can look that
How
up.
did he get it that high without being evicted?
Well, I think it
that's a
went over for like
question.
3 years or something, but we're in California. I mean, and we're talking about Biden. So the
Yeah.
name, so who knows? Who really knows? But again, why would you even wait until after the pardon? Why wouldn't you just come out and talk about it, openly beforehand, to let people know exactly what the Biden family's like? And I'm starting to believe more and more that this whole family is really messed up. I think that they're just not very good people. Let's just put it that way. I don't think we need to go, delve too much farther into it, but I really think they're a nasty group of people. And I think it's starting to show. That would be state and not covered by the pardon. Oh, that would be state and not covered by the pardon. Yeah, I know what you're saying, because it's federal only. But yeah, so I don't know what the big deal was, but I just know that when I read the headline, it said that landlord or whatever they called him comes out after Hunter was pardoned. So again, he didn't mention it until after the pardon. So, but again, I mean, I'm not worried about him not paying somebody $310,000. That's for that guy to figure out. I'm more worried about what kind of things did they do with the big guy and Hunter Biden and all these other things that happened with Burisma, the Ukraine, and all of these other things that Joe Biden lied to us about for all these years. That's what I want to see come to light. So this next clip is a really short one. This is Karine Jean-Pierre, and telling us pretty much the same stuff that they've been telling us ever since we knew about Hunter Biden.
Go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there,
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, they wouldn't do that. But yet they just did. So what makes you, I mean, what do you think actually happened? All of you in the chat, Gina, do you have any ideas on why you think that maybe he did this? And keep in mind that they went back all the way until like 2014, back around the time that the big guy, Daddy, was making people in Ukraine disappear as far as lose their job or fire this, prosecutor, or you're not going to get this American money. So, and it seems as if the pardon went back and covered a lot more than what you would expect, which tells me, from my standpoint, that this was a clear indication of nefarious things that happened. It was almost as if they were saying, "Yep, we did this, and now we're going to cover our asses before we get out of here." So, but what do you think, Gina?
Some of this confuses me. You can hear the little one coughing in the background. So some of this confuses me. I'm so confused how they can pardon him back from 2014. Now, hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, children. I love them. That it makes me worried what crimes they're trying to cover from 2014. Like, can these be discussed later on, or is just anything that comes up is just now null and void and the public doesn't know?
Well, I'm not a law person to where I could break it all down for you, but what I am starting to understand is this is going to protect him. Anything that's a federal offense, this will protect him because he's been pardoned. And they're going all the way back all these years so that anything that he would have done that would have been considered a federal offense, he will be pardoned from. Again, it goes back to what I said a few seconds ago or minutes ago, is that they were looking at this and thinking about this for a while when he knew that he was going to be walking away and had no chance of being reelected. Because if he would have been reelected, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He would have
Yeah,
protected him. Yeah,
a
exactly. So a
few,
lot of things could have happened. So go ahead.
a few things. I mean, I could understand if he got popped with like weed or even maybe, a drunk driving ticket. Not that he killed anyone, but, a DUI or whatever, a little pardon here. But all this says to me, and this is coming from a white woman from Massachusetts, is here's another white privileged man being pardoned from serious crimes. You're talking about gun charges, drug charges, um, sex trafficking crimes, pedophilia crimes, which he hasn't been charged for yet, but I'm sure it's all in there on that laptop, money laundering, and he just gets to walk away from it all.
Yeah, I mean that's part of we haven't seen anything like this since Richard Nixon. Okay, and that's well before many people that are listening to this your time. But when I would say a sweeping pardon like what we've seen here,
Mhm.
it would into that. It would go back. You'd have to go back to the Nixon days and Watergate and all of that. Otherwise, it hasn't happened. And another thing too is that it normally doesn't happen now. This what happened really, really early. And I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but my personal opinion is that they did this early because they knew that the 12th was right around the corner when he was going to be sentenced. And I also think that there's going to be more pardons coming. I don't think that he's finished yet. I think he's going to cover anyone and everyone that he thinks that they might come after. And a
Yeah.
lot of this was pushed because of Cash Patel and all these different people in there. So, and I don't know if you caught it or not, Gene, or anyone in the chat that's listening to the show, but Biden even came out and said that he felt that, you know, Hunter was being unfairly and unjustly targeted. And so one would have to think, if you're a critical thinker, okay, so you said that. So now you're talking about your own DOJ. You're talking about your own people who run the country right now. So you're telling us that you don't even trust Merrick Garland and you don't trust these other people because you're saying that he's targeted because nobody's targeted him yet from the Trump administration because nobody's in charge to do anything yet. So he used that as an excuse to, you know, I guess make it okay with all of the people who believe in Joe Biden and they believe that he's been honest after almost 50 plus years of being a politician, which we know from his young days as a politician all the way up until now. What he just did by pardoning his son, that he's lied to the American people, he's lied to fellow politicians. This man he's a chronic liar, a habitual liar, and he always has been, and it's not going to change.
Narcissist.
Yeah, he's gone. The guy's just, he's a joke. He really is, and very sad excuse for an installed president. You think that if they were going to cheat and install someone, that they could have done better than, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't, because it was a total disaster from the get-go. It really was. So, all right, let's go ahead
They were
and
probably thinking, let's get the stupid guy in so we can run it from behind. Someone who's not going to give us a hard time.
oh yeah, do you really think he's running the show now? I doubt that he's probably the one that didn't even do the pardon. I'm thinking I don't know though. I thought about that. And so I'm going to catch myself before I say that. I don't think Jill really cares for Hunter. So my initial thought was that maybe she's pulling the strings and she wants to protect the legacy and the family because I don't think she likes him at all because they've had, words and they've went at each other.
Oh, but he knows their
maybe
secrets.
yeah, well, maybe she did do it though, but she didn't do it for the reasons we would think, because it's my stepson. Maybe she did it because she wanted to protect the family and the brother Jim, and maybe she's involved in this for the big guy and all of this other stuff. So there's so many different avenues we could go down. Speculation, pure speculation, by the way. We don't know any of this to be true, but we can only assume. But after you're told all this time, what has it been, a year now or so, that not going to do this. And here's another clip that everyone needs to hear again. I remember this one because I've watched a lot of them, but it's only 17 seconds. But here he is again. This is ABC News asking Biden about the pardon.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
He's ruled it out.
Where are his eyes?
I don't know. I think
You
they're
see him?
buried
He
in
was
the
like,
mask. Yeah. Maybe he smoked a big blunt before he went on. He's like, "Hey, what's up?"
that's
I don't know.
probably why he was so calm.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like, come on, people. Did you really think that he wasn't going to do this? Like I said, I thought for sure that he would do it. I just didn't think that he would do it this soon. I thought he would wait until like the 20th, right before Inauguration Day. But man, for him to do it this early, I'm telling you, this is not over. He is not finished. There's more to come. There's more people to be protected. And if you pay any attention whatsoever to the new media, which is X, you're going to see the left leaning accounts out there. They're going ballistic right now because, then, we should take all of the people in the administration and the government and we should do a widespread, broad pardon for all of them. Can you imagine that? Doing that for everybody? So what are you telling us, that there's like all these thousands of federal crimes that have been committed and you want to be protected? They want to protect the J6 committee that went after the J6 people who were never charged with insurrection that are still being locked up unjustly in some really horrid conditions. They want everybody to be pardoned. Why? Well, because you're afraid of what you did. You guys stepped over the line, and you stepped in a big old pile of doggy doo, and now this is what you have to look forward to. So, and if you think that we're the only ones talking about this, don't be fooled, because there are a few Democrats out there that are speaking out against this, and we'll get to those in a minute. But I want to play this Tony Bobolinsky thing. It's about $1.45, and I just want everyone to listen to this again, because this man here knows a lot, and the FBI has never taken his statement, deposition, or anything. He's still waiting, and they will never take it until maybe when the new administration takes over and new people take over the FBI and CIA and stuff like that. So maybe we'll see some retribution at that point. But check this out. Still very telling. And what's really going on today that they want us focused on? Hunter. That's what Karen says. And by the way, hello, Karen. Did you have another one up there, or did you accidentally put that one up first before Karen's?
The chat was like moving when I clicked it.
Okay. I got you. All right, let's go ahead and play this one from Bobolinsky. And again, I really like this guy. A very believable guy. This guy's got a really good background and served in the Navy, I believe, maybe an admiral. But man, I mean, I wish they would talk to this guy, because this guy could blow this thing wide open if they would let him. So check it out.
And grow to billions of dollars of investment capital. After months of discussion, I agreed at Gilliar and Hunter Biden's request to become CEO of the entity to be called Sinohawk. Sino representing the Chinese side, Hawk representing Hunter Biden's brother Bo's favorite animal. And between February and May 2017, we exchanged numerous emails, documents, and WhatsApp messages concerning Sinohawk and its potential business. On May 2nd, 2017, the night before Joe Biden was to appear at the Milken Conference, I was introduced to Joe Biden by Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. At my approximately hour-long meeting with Joe that night, we discussed the Biden's history, the Biden's family business plans with the Chinese, with which he was plainly familiar, at least at a high level. After that meeting, I had numerous communications with Hunter, Walker, Gilliar, and Jim Biden regarding the allocation of the equity ownership of Sinohawk. On May 13, 2017, I received an email concerning allocation of equity, which says 10% held by H for the big guy. In that email, there's no question that H stands for Hunter, big guy for his father, Joe Biden, and Jim for Jim Biden. In fact, Hunter often referred to his father as the big guy or my chairman. On numerous occasions, it was made clear to me that Joe Biden's involvement was not to be mentioned in writing, but only face-to-face. In fact, I was advised by Gilliar and Walker that...
All right, that goes on, but again, if anyone else out there has never listened to a lot of, I think he went on and was interviewed by Tucker Carlson, if I remember correctly. That was one that I had saved somewhere on one of my computers. But Tony Bobolinsky is one of those guys that, he's very believable. You can tell by his demeanor. He holds, eye contact with everyone that he talks to about this. And again, this guy could blow this wide open only if they would let him. Now, you have to ask yourself, what does this have in common with some of the other things that we've seen over the last several years since they installed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the presidency for the United States of America? We've seen a cover-up with the J6 cameras at the DNC headquarters. We've seen so many different things. The pipe bomb issue, all of that stuff. It's all out there, and everything's been covered up. The J6 committee who put all these people in place, what happened to all of their information? Well, it was either it's missing or deleted. And why would you do that? I've said this 1,000 times in different conversations and on different shows that we've had. You don't get rid of information like that or evidence when you have somebody dead to right. You make more copies. You don't lose them. So the Adam Kinzingers, the Liz Cheneys, all of these people out there must, I think Benny Thompson, another one of them, all of these people must be held accountable. They have to be investigated. And this all stinks to high heaven. The same way that Joe Biden pardoned everybody because he knows that Bobulinski is probably going to come to the forefront. People are going to start listening to him. But why hasn't the legacy media, the mainstream media, why is it that they never approached Bobulinski and said, we want to hear more of your story. We want to do some investigative journalism, and we want to find out the truth. Wherever that truth takes us or that evidence takes us, that's what we're going to report on. They could have done that with the J6 pipe bomb. They didn't. They could have done that with all kinds of things, and they never did. But they ran around all the time calling people insurrectionists, although not one person was charged with insurrection. How's that even possible? That's like me going around and saying, well, you cheated on your wife or your husband. I don't know, but I'm going to say you did because I want to make you look bad. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with high school politics, high school, grade school stuff that lovers, so they think, people who are dating each other, they tell some pretty wild stories just to get under someone else's skin. And that's what we're seeing right now with our politics. So I think Joe Biden knows, again, we're going to go back to that and say that he purposely is covering his crime family with pardons. And just watch. I'm telling you, this is not over. There's going to be more people that are going to be under this umbrella, this blanket that's going to cover them and keep them all out of trouble because they know that something happened. They know damn well that the American people are starting to figure it out. We're starting to come to terms with it and see this, and the right people are going to be in place to investigate it and bring it out, out in the open. And everyone's going to know. Now, whether they can do certain things or not, we won't know. I'm hearing stories now that because of what has happened, that Congress can still call Hunter Biden up. He can't plead the fifth anymore because he's already been pardoned for these crimes, but he will be forced to tell the truth. He can still be held in contempt, and a lot of other things can still happen. So again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professional law. I don't know anything about this stuff except for what I'm hearing. And unless someone is really in the know and has studied this and knows how this all works through the state, federal, and all that, it's all conjecture. But we'll wait and see how this all pans out. But hopefully, the people who need to be brought to justice, some way, somehow, are still going to be brought to justice. And don't be surprised, Gina. Well, I'll let you go here, but I was going to say, and don't be surprised because of something you said earlier about pedophilia and stuff. We still don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein. We still don't know anything about Diddy or whatever he calls himself, Shawnee Combs or Sean Combs. And now we have Hunter that's probably not part of the exact thing, but at least been accused from the pictures we've seen on the computer that he's been with minors. So, but anyway, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, and I want to look more into it. Like you said, he's only been pardoned for the crimes that he's been charged with. So can other crimes be brought up against him? Like, does this just pardon him from life for anything?
Well, I think it was a blanket pardon that. Well, here's a statement from him. Let me read this real quick and see.
Oh, George just wrote something.
Yeah. Hunter said that this was his statement after receiving the pardon from his dad. The only thing that pardon doesn't cover is all Fed level is treason. Yeah. So he responded to his dad's pardon. I have admitted and taken responsibility for my mistakes during the darkest days of my addiction, mistakes that have been exploited to publicly humiliate and shame me and my family for political sport. And that's not true. That's totally them wanting you to feel sorry for them, which why anybody would feel sorry for this family is beyond me. But hey, you do you. Despite all of this, he says, I have maintained my sobriety for more than 5 years because of my deep faith and unwavering love and support of my family and friends. in the throes of addiction. I thought he was going to say in the throes of passion, but it's the throes of addiction. I squandered many opportunities and advantages. Yeah, you did, but you didn't squander the ones that got you guys millions of dollars from foreign governments. He goes on to say, in recovery, we can be given the opportunity to make amends where possible and rebuild our lives if we never take for granted the mercy that we have been afforded. I will never take the clemency I have been given today for granted and will devote the life I have rebuilt to helping those who are still sick and suffering. That was like a prepared statement that meant diddly squat to me. I could care less. That meant nothing. So that was his statement after the pardon. And again, I don't know all the details yet, but I do know that they're talking as if this is a blanket for things that have happened in the past, all the way back to 2014, which is, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's very strange because that is around the same time frame that all of this Bobolinsky and everything else started coming out about Ukraine. And also, it looks like it's going to cover anything into the future as well that could come from these things.
Yeah.
So we're going to
See,
have to see. There's a lot to take, to really take in on this and absorb, much more than I'm prepared to do right now, because again, we're going to have to wait for the Jonathan Turleys and the Andrew McCarthys and all these big time lawyers that they know the business, and we'll see where it all goes. So,
you know what
um,
I feel sorry for? You
what's
said you
that?
don't know why people feel sorry. I feel sorry that no one ever got Hunter the true help that he actually needed. Put your politicals aside, put all of that aside. That boy should have been taken a hold of by the courts and put into a rehab. Section him, put him in, get him the help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel
Well,
bad for Biden and them because they didn't stand up for his son. That's what I feel bad.
Well, I know a lot of people were out there talking that they're a loving family, and he really loves his son, and he cares so deeply for him. But I don't believe that. I really don't. I think this is self preservation on Joe Biden's part. And again, for anyone out there who might say, "Oh, come on, that's his dad. He has to feel." No, he doesn't. But again, this is my opinion. And if someone disagrees, that's fine. But this is how I see it and how I feel about it. I don't think that he's doing this for Hunter. I think he's doing it for himself. He's going to do it for the people around him that would have got caught up in this because they were part of it. They were accessories to it. They were complicit in all the crimes. And he's going to cover them so that it protects the Biden family. Period. I don't think that you could take a loving a father and say, okay, I'm going to pardon you, when we know for a fact that that laptop was his. And we know that there is some pretty nasty things on there with him and young people. Again,
Right.
I'm not going to worry about defamation and stuff because I'm going to say alleged. But if some of these were minors, and these things were happening, if you love your child, and I commented on a post on this as well on X today, if that was my kid, there's no way I would have pardoned him, and I would have made him him or her go get help, and I would have turned them in. There's no way I would have tried to protect them, because what's going to happen when you protect him? Because it's obvious what's happened, because they protected him all of his life when he went through his drug addiction and all these crazy things that he's been doing. They've been there for him the whole time. Okay. Now I have, my dad had a stepbrother. Okay. And he was younger, and he had a different father, but by the same mother. Okay. Well, they took care of him. Everything that my uncle wanted, my grandparents did for him. And he ended up being a drug addict. Okay. Everything he touched turned to what. It's just the way it was. He couldn't do any wrong. And then, oh, I'll change. And then they'd let him back in the house. Oh, I'll change. And it time and time again. Just a nasty, nasty drug addict. Never really wasn't any harm to anybody else. But they enabled him because they kept supporting him outside of making him, he would go to prison. Again, not for violence, but for getting busted with drugs. You know, he would shoot up, 8 ball, whatever they called that stuff back in the day. But they kept letting him come in without really getting any help. And I think this is the same thing that the Biden family has done to their own family, to their kids. I mean, they don't even talk to their own the one grandkid that he had an affair with, or that one lady down in Arkansas or wherever that, remember, they didn't want anything to do with the grandkid. So no, I don't think this is a good, loving family in any way or form. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I just don't buy that. Again, I think they're doing this for self-preservation because he wants to protect himself and doesn't want people going after everybody else. But they haven't done any favors for Hunter. They've actually made him worse. Same scenario. If our kids keep doing something, they keep going in the store and stealing or throwing a fit, and you don't correct them and punish them up to a point, to make them realize that, hey, the behavior that you're exhibiting, it's not acceptable. This has to change. And then you crack down until you make them understand and they change their ways. That's a loving parent. That's a loving family. I don't see that kind of love here. I just don't see it. And I'll go a little bit further and we'll move on. Dan Bongino mentioned something today, and make no mistake about it. He's got I'll read that in a second. He's got some very good informants that are close to the Biden administration. He made the comment on today's show that he's got it on good merits, that little bag of cocaine that was found in the White House probably wasn't Hunter Biden's. It was another member of the family. So again, alleged, but he hasn't been wrong yet. He's got some really, really good sources. So just keep that in the bank. Don't fall for this stuff about this loving family stuff. Dig into the Biden family and all the things that have happened. The Kennedys, there's a lot of crazy stuff that have happened with these politicians. And remember what I always tell you guys and gals, they don't love you people. So don't fall in love with them. They hate you. The pardon only affects Hunter. He's the only one with immunity. They can still bring in evidence and have Hunter testify against his associates in jail. Those peeps. Yeah. And see, I'm hearing different. I'm hearing that it's going to cover more than that. But again, I can't argue because I don't know that to be true or a fact yet. So there's so much to be unpacked on this. It's going to take a while since it just happened today. So, but yeah, I think that, if they left any stone unturned, that's good for us. Let them go after them, because I want to know the truth. I want to know how crooked the Biden family is. I truly do. I think they should be brought out into the light, out of the darkness. I think it's time for the American people to see the man for who he really is. And that takes me back to a nice segue into the next piece here, clip that I have. This is actually Joe Walsh. I don't know if any of you guys have seen any of his stuff on X, but he has an account. He puts some really boneheaded things up at different times. But anyway, Joe Walsh fumes, says that Democrats' argument against Trump is now deflated because Biden pardoned his son, Hunter. So not everybody's happy about this on the left. So let's check this out.
What do you make of all of this? What is likely to be the response on Capitol Hill to this breaking news?
Good to be with you. See, I told you so. They're all like that. So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. For those of us who have been out there for a few years now yelling about what a unique threat Donald Trump is, for Joe Biden to do something like this, Trump, nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming. Joe Biden repeatedly lied about this. The politicization of the justice system. Donald Trump and his people have been screaming. Well, that's exactly what Biden said here.
Joe, is this a politics of purity? I mean, we had Donald Trump pardon Sheriff Joe Arpaio during his term, and there wasn't a lot of hue and cry about that. I mean, this is a father who saw his first wife killed, his daughter killed in a car crash, his 2 young sons survive. One goes on to have real difficulties with addiction. Another dies because of cancer. This is a family that's really troubled. I mean, yes, he said he wasn't going to do this, but did anyone ever believe that that was the case? I mean, I would have put good money on this happening. Like, are many people going to be surprised that a father who is also the president would do this for his son?
I don't know that people will be surprised, because you're right. Joe Biden repeatedly said he wouldn't do this. So he repeatedly lied. But this just furthers the cynicism that people have about politics. And that cynicism strengthens Trump, because Trump can just say, I'm not a unique threat. Everybody does this. If I do something for my kid, my son-in-law, whatever, look, Joe Biden does the same thing. I get it, but this was a selfish move by Biden, which politically only strengthens Trump. It's just deflating.
So they're he's saying everything that we're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can anybody stop this? Like, can the courts deny the pardon ever, or
no,
that's it?
Nope, that's it. It's a done deal. That's just the way it is. Now, could they, get together, Congress and all the right people get together and come up with some kind of an amendment to the Constitution or whatever the case may be? They could maybe do something to where it's not as broad. Because normally when you pardon somebody, it's going to be like a Daniel Penny or something in New York, through that trial that he's going through. It's usually somebody like that, or it'll be someone who is getting ready to be put to death or something, and maybe there's some questions, or maybe it wasn't a violent type thing. It was just whatever. I don't know. I'm just searching for things. Or maybe you're a black and white turkey on Thanksgiving Day and you just got a pardon. Yeah, you could use it for the pardon for the turkeys too. I mean, Hunter's a turkey, so there you go. Yeah, so
You beat me to it. I was gonna say.
yeah, I don't know. He's a gobbler. There. Did I just say that? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that. But
Biden
anyway.
kind of looks like one with his neck.
He's a Tom Tookie. He is.
Tom the turkey.
Yes, he's a Tom the Tookie. All right. So, yeah, I got another one here. I've really been watching a lot of this guy, and he is what Jessica Tarloff is to the Five. She's that outlier. She's that black sheep. I'm sorry. She's the white sheep. I better not say black. I'd be called a racist. She's that white sheep that's on the Five that stands out and always argues the left and their side and their agenda. But this guy here on CNN, Scott Jennings, I really, really, really like this guy. And the more I see of him, the more I like of him. And he goes off on on brain rotted Democrats who are defending Biden's pardon of Hunter. Now, I don't want to say any more, but you have to listen to this. This guy is the voice of reason. I want him over here. Get him away from CNN. Get him over here to Fox News, or put him on maybe X, his own channel or something. But guy's got a lot of good things to say and a lot of common sense. So let's check this out.
Listen, you guys can spend all day long trying to spin this, that this is Donald Trump's fault, that this is somehow caused by Donald Trump. Oh, he's appointing the wrong people. Oh, he did it. Oh, this is the worst possible thing a president could possibly do to his party and to the country, to sit for a year and say, I will not do this. I will not do this. The rule of law is sacred. We have to respect the justice system. Juries, we have to respect juries. We have to respect the guardrails and the norms of our democracy. These people are liars. Inflation, it's transitory. Afghanistan, it's a success. The border is secure. Robert Hur is a liar. The videos are cheap fakes. Biden has a cold. He'll never drop out. Oh, I'll never pardon Hunter. It's all a lie. It is all a grift. Every American, except the most partisan, brain-rotted people, are going to be outraged by this today. He is going to leave off. You think 39% job approval is bad? Just you wait. Just you wait. He's disgraced today. Outrageous.
You don't need to, but Scott, you don't need to hurl names and say people like me are brain rotted. Come on, that's a little beyond the pale, even for you, Scott.
You are brain rotted.
I stand up for yourself. You don't have to defend this. He's leaving office. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to die on this hill. You can say this is wrong because everybody knows that it is. It's wrong. Are you fine with the lying? Are you fine with him sitting before the election all year and lying to the American people? Are you fine with the lying about it?
I don't think that he was lying. I think he made a decision after the fact and decided this was the right thing for him and for his family. Period. Full stop. Donald Trump decided that it was okay to pardon
Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre. How many minutes of tape do we have of both of these people telling the American people this will not happen? It's I mean, we could play it all morning. It's a lie, and it's a lie to benefit his own family, and that's all that it is. And everybody who went on TV and said, oh, look how he's the modern George Washington. He's drained every ounce of credibility from every surrogate. If Karine Jean-Pierre had an ounce of self-respect, she'd get off the plane in Africa today where they're going so he can avoid the press and resign. He's drained all of her credibility, and everybody else who's defended this, it's draining for them forever.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
What?
How do you not like that
world?
And he's telling the truth. How many times have we said this, and have we heard other people on our side say this, that if Trump does something stupid or any other politician that we deem to be a conservative, Republican, libertarian, whatever it is, that we support them and we like them, if they do something stupid, we call them out. We don't have to defend them just because they're one of ours. That's totally asinine if you really think that. You shouldn't be doing that. Because you have to hold their feet to the fire no matter who they are, no matter what they're doing. And it's just that simple. You shouldn't be handling it any other way. What's that?
This chick that was just talking reminds me one of those women that someone goes to court to file for a rape charge, and she comes out and says, well, she shouldn't have been wearing that mini skirt and short shirt.
Yep.
No. That's not how it works, honey. Like,
Yep.
what is like, I'm so embarrassed I was ever on that side. Like, how did I not see this?
But when you're part of it, you don't see it because you're in that echo chamber all the time where you're hearing the same stuff. And then, it's kind of like, it's true, even though a lot of people don't like to believe it, but you can literally make up a lie today. Let's just say I ask you a question that maybe makes you a little uncomfortable, and you're going to say in your head, you're going to be like, I'm not going to answer that, but I'm going to answer it this way. And you answer in a way that is a complete lie. And it is, but you're just covering because you don't want to talk about it. And then enough people over time ask you about it, and you keep telling that same lie. And then as the years go by, or the weeks, months, whatever, you told that lie so many times that there's going to come a day where you're going to stop and say, I don't even remember. Did that really happen? Or did I change? If you get my drift, it's like you can literally make yourself believe something like that because you hear people tell you that all the time. And again, I say the word echo chamber, and I don't live in an echo chamber. I don't believe that there's certain people that I listen to that talk about the same stories, but they don't use the exact same words. They don't use the exact same phrases. That would be like me. I listen to Dan Bongino all the time. I listen to Rush Limbaugh all the time, but I don't talk like them. I don't use the exact same phrases, or I might describe something totally different, or I just have a whole different an outlook on it. And that's what I express to people because we're all different people. And I think that's what's so relaxing about our side is that again, for those of us who have critical thinking capabilities, we'll call out our own people. We'll talk about different things that we deem to be really important to us. We don't all think exactly alike, but yet they call us the party of the cult or the cult party. And when actuality, it's them on that side because they all must believe and follow the same echo chamber to make something happen. And we're witnessing that right now on X. I mean, it's so obvious. All of the left leaning accounts are saying the exact same thing. It's almost as if, here, I'm going to fax this to you, Gina, and you have to talk about this. Exactly. You got to, some kind of phrase or wording. You have to say the exact same thing that's on this paper. Let's spread it around to as many of your followers as we possibly can. And that's what these accounts are doing on X. And that's why I just mute a bunch of them. I don't block them. I just mute them so that I never see them come across my feed because I don't have time for the nonsense. I would rather hear what someone on my side said, and maybe I disagree with it or I do agree with it, but I kind of look at it from a different angle. So that's who I choose to converse with or engage with, is people that are like-minded but aren't afraid to say, hey, I look at it a little bit differently, but I'm on the same page. So that's what I look for. And if I can do that, or you can do that with me, we're going to be fine. There's not going to be an argument there because I'll be the first to say it. And everyone who knows me knows this or listens to me. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you, or I'll say, I'm not really sure if I'm right or wrong about this, but this is how I feel. And some of these people out there will be like, no, this is the way it is, whether you like it or not. We're telling you the truth. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy stuff. I mean, look at The View. Watch that. Watch those gals on there. We talk about them all the time. We can make show after show after show. Every show we could do with clips from the View and the crazy things that they say. From Whoopi Goldberg to Anna Navarro, all of these crazy. Sunny Hostin. These women are out there, but they're all spewing the same nonsense. So keep that in mind when you're listening to those people, the Joey Behars and everybody, and Joy Reeds. These people are they're like a cancer to your brain. You listen to those people and you're gonna be defective. That's exactly what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna end up defective. But anyway, I got one more clip here. I just downloaded this. Lou, Joe said you couldn't pay me enough to watch them loons. Yeah, I know, Joe. It is. But I've told you all about this before. I feel it necessary to. I'll say it this way in a loving way. I take it for the team, okay? Because when I do go live and we talk about these things, I have to know where the left is coming from. I have to know the temperature of the political climate across the country, whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. And if I don't know these things, I can't really talk about them. So I have to put myself through that. So again, I'm taking one for the team so that we can all.
We appreciate you, Lou.
Yeah, to make sense. And that's what all of us do. The Dan Bonginos, all the small accounts and large accounts. We all have to put ourselves through this. And by the way, a couple of these clips tonight too were from @EricDaw, which I think is Daugherty maybe. But anyway, go to @ERIC Eric DAUGH and give him a follow too, because he has some really good content. Videos on there that, again, it helps us. So we got the Western Lensman. We have Eric Maze Moore, @MAZE Moore, MOORE, another great account. And a couple of them follow me as well. So yeah, definitely give them a follow, and man, stay up to date. If you're going to be on X, these accounts get notifications from them when something breaks. And there'll be a good chance that you'll say, well, Lou, I've already solved this because it was on Maze Moore's account today and you're showing it on yours. So, yep, because that's where I get a lot of my stuff from. And then I just come up with my own comments and narrative and I move on from there. It's kind of how it works. But anyway, I got this one here. I'm hoping this one from Corinne Jean-Pierre. I think this was when she was on the plane as they're heading over to Africa, as you heard Scott Jennings say. when they were saying that maybe she should just get off the plane and quit when they get to the continent, the African continent over there. But anyway, she's talking about, if this is the right clip, and I hope it is. If it's not, I'll stop it. But she's talking here, if it's the right one, about why Joe Biden changed his mind. So let's hope and pray that I got the right one, because I just downloaded it a few minutes ago, trying to search for it frantically. So check it out.
You have said repeatedly yourself since the election, the president has said for months, no pardon was coming. I wanted to ask you, could those statements now be seen as lies from the American people? Is there really a credibility issue here given now this announcement?
First of all, one of the things that the president always believes is to be truthful to the American people. That is something that he always truly believes. And if you see the end of his, I assume that you've read his statement, and you look at the end of that statement, and he actually says that in the first line in the last paragraph, and respects the thinking and how the American people will actually see this in his decision making. And I would encourage everyone to read in full the president's statement. I think he lays out his thought process. He lays out how he came to this decision. He came to this decision this weekend. So let's be very clear about that. He says it himself. It's in his voice. He said he came to this decision this weekend. And he said he wrestled with this. And because he believes in the justice system, but he also believes that the war politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice.
So that was, they were on board Air Force One flying over to Africa when that was taped. And thank you, Lord, because I got the right clip. I was hoping I did, because I didn't want
You
to
guys
be.
hear me? I was trying to pay attention, because all I could hear was that engine.
Yeah, hopefully everybody could hear that. If you can't, just go look that up. The Karine Jean-Pierre on board of Air Force One. You can do a search for it, talking about Joe Biden's pardon. Yeah, she does. Sure. She does earn her paycheck. And, and I was getting ready to comment about that, and I'm glad that you put that up there, because that was perfect timing. I think each and every one of us that are listening to the live, show tonight, whether you're on X, Rumble, and maybe one person on YouTube or zero people on YouTube, but if you're on the other two platforms, or the other one there, CommieTube, if I say something that is, to be totally untrue, not one of you would let it go and not say something about it. And I would expect you to do the same thing. Okay? I would do it to you, because if you get into the chat and you say something that's totally not true, and I know for a fact that it's not true, I would call you out, and I would say no. And it wouldn't mean so much like, oh, hey, you dummy. I would just be like, no, that's not true. I've researched this and blah, blah, blah. And I'd give you all the receipts and the evidence that you needed. We almost need to go back to saying evidence, because receipts is just getting makes me want to go to the grocery store and spend money. Reminds me of spending money. So let's just say the evidence. I have the evidence. So maybe I'll start turning the corner and go back the other way. Get away from receipts and say evidence. But yeah, I'm going to show you the evidence. We're going to talk about it and go from there. But my whole point is, none of us here want to hear lies. None of us here want to just hear something to make us feel good. I want to hear and talk about things that really matter to each and every one of us every day. And then we move forward from there. So that's important to me, to do that. And again, there's a lot of accounts out there, and there's a lot of people like Karine Jean-Pierre who do that for a living. And that's where I was going with that whole thing, and got a little sidetracked. But she's doing something knowing that she's lying on a daily basis. I couldn't do that job. I would be like, Mr. President, or whoever my direct boss was that said, hey, here's your talking points. Get out there and say it. I'm going to look at those and go, wait a minute. No, that's not true. I know. No, I can't say this. But yet they'll go out there and say that, and they'll still do it. So I guess we could say that they sold their soul to the devil, because they'll say and do anything to keep their job. But there comes a point where you have to have some self-respect. You have to have some kind of dignity to say that I just can't do this. I can't put myself out there. I can't sacrifice myself for the success of another when I know that it's under the pretext of a lie. I couldn't do it. And for the people who can do this, I don't pat them on the back. And not that any of you would, but they don't need patted on the back. They need to be, discouraged. They need to be called out and say, you're a liar and you need to stop and you need to tell the truth and find a better job. She can go do anything. But if she enjoys telling the lies and she enjoys being in that atmosphere, which is surrounded by lies from day one in this administration, because they were put there, installed in the first place and never came out of his basement under the guise of the great COVID that was going to kill everybody. Well, there you have it. But again, yeah, I don't know that I just couldn't do a job like that. I would have to call my boss out and say, I can't lie for you. Or I see something in these bullet points that I really need to discuss with you before I go out in front of the nation or the world for that matter. So I'd be fired from probably the first couple seconds. Someone handed that to me, I'd be like, "Oh hell no, 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 we're not doing this. Nope, not happening on
Lou
my
would even
watch."
follow.
Like, bye bye.
Lou would even, yeah. Dan Bongino could hand Lou something, and if it wasn't right, he'd be like, sorry, no.
No, but Dan wouldn't do that. But yes, I get your point.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if it was my wife. My wife will call me out for crying out loud. So yeah,
Well, that's half our job.
Exactly. You got to do something. So, and I'm
keep
I'm
you
really,
honest.
yeah, exactly, totally honest. And I'm sorry that there are so many people out there that are commenting. I just can't keep up with it all. But anyway,
When they're
again,
ready, I pop them up.
yeah, Joe said it's quite understandable, Lou. The blind live in the dark and their ears are closed to the truth. Yeah, that's exactly it. So, but yeah, if you want something posted up there or want me to comment or her to comment, please put that star next to it or let us know. Francis says she likes like Dennis Rodman of the newsroom. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yep. Does more defense than a lineman in the Ironman football.
That was a good one, Mom.
That's true. Yeah, it is true though. It's very true. Very, very true. All right. So I think we got through all of that stuff. And again, I wasn't even going to talk about that. It was strictly going to be about, hey, how did everybody, are you still fat and sassy from
Hey,
eating
no
all
fights
your...
at my house Thanksgiving.
So you didn't cut the pumpkin pie the wrong way or nothing?
Oh,
Did you
no.
see
Do you
those
see those
memes that were
people
out
who
there?
cut like the triangle like in the middle of the pie?
Yeah. Or like me, I would cut like, I don't know, maybe half of the pie like this or something, or 3/4, whatever it would be, maybe a quarter or a third, and then leave the other ones there, cut them in little pieces. Because people put those memes out there that was like, if you want to start a fight, and I started putting out or pushing them out and reposting or requoting. I thought it was pretty funny. I go, yeah, that's a good way to get one started. Or just as soon as your mother or father-in-law or sister-in-law or brother-in-law walk through the door, you just go, yeah, my guy won, Trump 47. And that, they're pushing for Kamala, and then all hell just breaks loose. And the whole Thanksgiving dinner is done. It's shot. Nobody gets to watch football. Nobody gets to fall asleep on the couch or the recliner. Nothing. No.
I left my hat right on my computer, right in the dining room.
Oh, you should have put it in right over the turkey in the centerpiece of the dining room table.
It was,
but
that would have been good.
I
went to one of my friend's high school reunion Friday night, and I was so tempted to wear my hat and my Trump shirt. I should have. But I probably would have pissed off like half of my own friends.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Only see them once every 10 years.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that people would literally do that. Let me see if I can find something here real quick. Speaking of that, because you made me think of that. over the weekend, I had saw something here that would really
It was good
pertain
though.
to that. Uh,
Did you guys have anybody over?
yeah, I had my mother-in-law over, and she votes. Here we go. Hang on here. I don't wonder if I can get that whole thing in here. Let me try this.
We had
Sorry, hang
20
on.
here. No, that's okay. I cooked for 20. I had a 20-pound turkey and a 10-pound ham.
Yeah.
And I think I only had like a Ziploc bag left of the ham.
Yeah. Now, see, the last couple of years, let me click this. The last couple
And
of
it's
years,
weird.
I told the wife, I said, let's not even do a whole turkey anymore. We just do like the breast, do a couple of the breast, and I forget what the other one was that she got. So we just do that because usually what happens is, and I mean, she would do it. If it's not her, that after we get fat and sassy and we're feeling the way we're feeling, we got to get up there and start picking all that stuff off the bones. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of doing this. I don't want to pick it off the bones. I want to go kick back in the recliner or I want to do something. But I don't want to stand here and pick these bones clean. So
Oh,
that's what we
see,
do.
I do
So
the bones. I use the
yeah, what
bones
we
for
used
broth
to.
after.
Yeah.
Throw 'em
Well,
right
that's
in a
what
stock pot.
mother-in-law does that. She wants that too. Now she's on the left. She's a lib. And she don't say much though. She keeps it respectful and she knows better. She knows it's the king's house. So, I mean, nobody's going to come into my house and talk smack. I can tell you that now. I don't care who it is. So, if you're going to come in, you're best just to be respectful and realize that it is my castle and I am the king of that castle. And you know, things that go on in my house go on. She's a Catholic. We're not Catholic. And we don't pray as Catholics. So she prays on her own and we do our own thing. So that's kind of how we do that. But again,
Oh, what do we say?
it's my house.
Oh, I don't even know where it kind of falls, but we say, bless us, O Lord, for these thy gifts, which we are about to receive through thy bounty, through Christ our Lord. Amen. And then we eat.
That's the Lord's Prayer.
And then the kids go, rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub, yay God.
Oh my goodness. It's kind of like when we sing happy birthday, we go cha 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 like Mr. Patches from when I was a kid. Cha cha cha. I don't know. And if people are old enough to remember Mr. Patches, might have been
I don't even know who that is.
it might have been a St. Louis, Missouri thing on the airwaves. I can't remember now. So, but anyway, we were talking about all the craziness going on. If you wanna start something with your family on Thanksgiving Day, this is it right here. This is what it was like. If anyone said I cut a piece wrong, I'd smash the pie with the hammer, grab a handful of crushed pie, and leave. You are a violent monkey.
Oh,
I caught my smoker on fire. Francis, that's what
he
caused the
texted
fire
me.
in Boston. Right there.
He
There's your
texted
culprit.
me. And I was like, that sounds like a scene from a comedy. Like, I know it probably was terrifying when it happened, but I could just picture him running around.
Oh my goodness. That's what caused the fires in Boston right there. Francis, that's your culprit right there. Go get him, peeps. That's who did it right there. But anyway, this is what it's going to look like at your house if you and the family get into a brawl, because this happened everywhere in the college football world. Everybody probably heard about this, but check it out.
The fuck out of here!
All right, that's enough of that, but it goes on for a little bit. But there was another one where I guess it was out in Arizona, and they had like a pitchfork, or Sun Devils, and they had these like pitchfork, and they were trying to stab it into their logo on the ground. And everybody was breaking out. It was a big brawl. This happened at like several different stadiums. And they're not really sure what caused it, except for there was some stuff floating around social media where this had happened in the past. And maybe some of the young people were seeing it because they're all into that social media, and they were trying to duplicate or replicate that. And they went out and did it, and it just caused a big problem. So, I mean, come on. If I'm a football player and you come up with your pitchfork and you beat us at our own home or wherever, and you stab that thing into the dirt, I'm just going to keep walking to the locker room after the game and say, no big deal.
We already
But
got
these
the win.
guys, yeah, they're going to, it's like this was going on all over the country. It's like, people, it's a football game. But anyway, so yeah, that's what your family's going to look like when you do something you're not supposed to do. What's Monkey say? Lose the king till he gets so much black eye in him that Tammy has to tranquil him, and he has a royal nap for 6 hours. I don't sleep. I don't take naps. No, I don't. She wants the 6 hour nap. See, I tell you like it is. I don't take naps. Nope.
I don't nap
Never.
either.
If I
My
took a nap,
husband
I'd wake
naps.
up with a headache.
I don't
would.
feel good when I take a nap. If I fall asleep during the day, I feel like the rest of my day is done.
Yeah, it throws you off. It really does.
Yeah. But
It
everyone else in
throws-
my house can nap except for me. If I fall asleep and I nap during the day, I'm either not feeling good or I really got zero sleep the night before.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to move on a little bit here. We're just going to touch on this. I don't know if anybody heard about the movie The Wicked, but I would never watch it. I don't know, maybe something for the kids, but I doubt my kids would even watch this. But regardless,
My
it's
girls were
Wicked.
singing it all
It's a
weekend.
movie in the UK, and it's trigger warning. It says, I'm getting this right from social media. The British Board of Film, again, the British Board of Film Classification has added content warnings to Wicked, noting scenes where a green-skinned woman is mocked. Now, mind you, this green-skinned woman is black, but she's green because she's dressed up as a witch, and they painted her skin green. So she's mocked, and they have talking animals in this movie that are persecuted. So is there anything that we won't fight and argue about and call somebody a racist or whatever it is? I don't understand why people have to take things so serious, so literal all the time. So a black woman who's an actor plays in a movie called Wicked. She's dressed up like a witch. They paint her skin green and someone mocks her, and then it's racist or disrespectful because she's a black woman and it's painted green? Or animals who we know don't talk, but they talk, and now they're being persecuted. Oh my goodness, you persecuted a monkey because it spoke. Oh my. So again, what is wrong with these people? They're sick in the head. It's mental illness. It is everywhere. It's in politics. It's in everyday life. These people are mental cases, plain and simple. If you don't have anything better to do with your life except for to pick apart a movie, I could pick apart every movie we've ever watched, every series we've ever watched, every person that I've ever met. I could sit and pick myself apart if I had to. I could make fun of myself. Simple. We all could. But yet, where is the joy? Where is the happiness that we're supposed to be having and living when we can't even sit down and watch a movie without just tearing it apart and making it something that it's not even meant to be? I don't know. Pretty cray. Green Lives Matter. That is cute. I like that. Green Lives
Oh,
Matter.
I heard about this too.
How about the Wicked toys that had the porn site labeled on the back? I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that. That's a new one to me. Whoa.
Yep. Right on the back of the package. You know how it usually has like Mattel and then like the website or whatever?
Yeah.
It was whatever website they put. If you went to it, it was a porn site.
Oh, wow. No.
And of course, it's just my bad. Sorry.
Jeez. Yeah. Go figure.
Nobody looked.
I have no idea why. I don't know. It was just something that I kind of came across, so I thought I would just bring it up because I saw.
Everyone's typing so fast when I went to go type it, like click it.
I'm doing. They didn't have my permission. Yeah, monkey that talks. Well, listen. You got to go back now. You got my age group. I remember the first Planet of the Apes because we used to take those the little apes and buy the models, and we talked about that before. We used to do the cars and the creature from the Black Lagoon and Count Dracula, Frankenstein. We'd have all those, and we would buy them in these little model boxes at the model store or wherever. And they had that too. Planet of the Apes, that was pretty cool back in the day because apes that were talking and they were like ruled the world after, the Holocaust, or not a Holocaust, but like a nuclear war type thing where mankind was just about wiped out and the apes took over. So I don't know, but you're not an ape. So, but it was Planet of the Apes. You're a monkey. So I guess it could be the same. They look like monkeys. I don't know. They look like monkeys, but to call themselves apes? Maybe they're close enough. Who knows? See, we're having a conversation about something that doesn't matter. I don't know. They all look alike to me. Is that racist when you say that? That monkeys and apes look alike? See, I don't know. I didn't mean it to be racist, but I guess someone could take it that way. See how sensitive we are?
Lou, if you continue to go down this road, I might not be able to come back next time.
Did we get a notification over on YouTube yet saying that we were kicked off? I didn't see anything.
No, I keep looking. We're still good.
We're still live. Woohoo!
We're still live with the one watching, which is me.
I'm towing that line. All right, before we move on, because we never even touched on our main story because the Bidens took over again, as they always do. Just want to tell everyone real quickly, for those of you watching on Rumble, thank you so much for watching and participating through the Rumble app. We really appreciate it. And if you're watching on X and you have not downloaded that Rumble app, please do so. It's free, literally free. It doesn't cost you anything. Rumble doesn't charge you. When you go over there and download that, you can look us up on the Lou's Views podcast that she's got up on the screen and give us a follow, give us a thumbs up, a like, same difference. And definitely follow and subscribe. Again, that's free too. I mean, come on. We're not charging anything. It's free. Just come on over. It's free speech, all of that good stuff. And give us a follow. And every time, and hit that notification button. I always want to forget that one, but hit that. And every time we go live or upload any new content, you will get a notification. You can come check it out or come follow us on the live. But again, this is our home channel. We do go live on X as well and on YouTube, but YouTube's kind of mean to us. They treat us like that redheaded freckle face or stepchild type thing. So I don't know. They don't really care much for us. And every time I talk about certain things like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and face diapers, I get smacked and they kick our whole show right off.
Diapers, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh, the face diapers? Yeah. Who wants a face diaper?
The only time I can think of wearing that, right now I'm not feeling so hot. So if I was going to be really close to somebody in some sort of situation, then I may put one on. Or when my aunt, God rest her soul, if she was alive, she had cancer. If I had to stop by and drop something off with her, I would put one on. Regardless, before COVID, after COVID, because I wasn't feeling well and I didn't want her to get her sick. But other than that, no need.
I think if I was going to wear a mask, the only time I would wear one is if I was going into a hospital setting where someone didn't need any kind of infection or virus.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll never see one on my face. I will not do that for nothing because
I fell for it.
We all
actually
need
made them.
Yeah, we all need to get certain things so that our body can build an immunity to it and everything else. But actually, you went a different direction. I was going through social media today, and then we're going to move on, I promise. But there was this runner, and I don't know, she ran some long distance.
She's a runner.
Marathon.
She's a track star.
Yeah, she ran a marathon, and this guy was filming her, like the film crew, and she looked up
I know
to
where
him.
you're going with this.
Yeah, she looked up to him, and she's like, "Please don't, record my backside because I pooped myself." While she was running, and she ended up taking first place, and she literally pooped her pants. So she needed a diaper, but she didn't have one. So, but she didn't want everybody to see. So that's why she won, because she ran so fast and hard because she had poop stains in the back of her pants on those little tights that she ran out in front of everybody so nobody could see or smell her. Now that is motivation. All you got to do is poop your pants and you will run like the Dickens and you'll win every time. There you go. Moral of the story is poop your pants. You'll be faster. You might stink, but you'll be faster. All right. Enough of that nonsense. See where you took me? I don't know. You do this all the time. You get me sidetracked. All right. Well,
But I
now it's
digress.
time. Yes. So did everyone hear about, I got to pull this back up because now it's telling me, oh, snap, which means that it went away on me on my screen. So I'm going to pull this back up. But all the women who are upset about Donald Trump and his stance on reproductive rights. So they're going to go out and sterilize themselves permanently so that they can't have children. I don't know. Oh, there it is. It's even in the search bar still. So let me pull that back up. Maybe to get me. I'm getting this from the New York Post, and I don't subscribe to them, so I can only get in here so a little bit. But here's the story. It was published yesterday. It says these women, including OnlyFans model, are getting sterilized and blaming Trump for their decision. The election has tied my hands. Well, it's tied more than your hands, apparently. These women are getting these women are getting elective surgical procedures to render themselves infertile, all because Donald Trump won the election. The women who were speaking proudly about their decision say it's because they fear a reproductive rights crackdown under the second Trump administration. Newsweek recently spoke to multiple women, including an OnlyFans model, who said they were turning to invasive, irreversible medical procedures to ensure their reproductive freedom remains untrodden upon. Scroll down here. Eden Exora, 25 of Florida, who creates content for the adult-oriented site, told the outlet, "For me, the idea of getting pregnant is worse than death." Wow. She said she was making plans to have a bilateral salpingectomy. I don't know what that is. I should look that up before I read the story. Maybe I could have explained it. Somebody look that up. SALPINGECTOMY. A bilateral salpingectomy. I don't know. A procedure in which her fallopian tubes will be removed. Well, there you go. I should have read a little further. He explained it for me. So they're going to remove her fallopian tubes. I wonder if they can plant those and if they'll grow into big, beautiful flowers. I don't know. Sounds like a flower, a fallopian tube. But anyway, for me, it was a call to action. I need to get this locked in so I don't have to live in fear that at any moment some random guy can completely destroy my life. Well, you live in the adult industry. Yeah, that is kind of a concern. Maybe you shouldn't be doing those things and some random guy just can't knock you up. And you might say, well, I don't even know who the daddy is because, well, it depends on how many scenes you do in one day or within a week. I don't know. Maybe we should think a little bit. All right, here we go. This is the world we live in, people. For me, the idea of getting pregnant is worse than death. I'm doing what I can to protect my right to choose. I am choosing me. Now, reached via Instagram, Exora told the Post she was already mulling the procedure before Election Day, but said his winning just made me want to actually get it scheduled and on my calendar. She wasn't the only woman considering the procedure with politics in mind. If I am to be denied any rights in the next 4 or more years, I will not give up without a fight, said Lydia Eccles, 28 of Texas. Eccles told Newsweek she also plans to have her tubes removed. An unidentified 39-year-old who said she had just gotten the procedure told the outlet that she felt she had no choice after the election results. Oh my gosh. I am not happy that I felt forced into a surgery I did not want to alter my body. I feel like the election tied my hands and forced me to be sterilized. This is horrible. Another woman who said she and her husband both never wanted children described her decision using language straight out of a dystopian novel and TV series, The Handmaid's Tale, in which women are second-class citizens. I paid way too much attention to the vitriol Trump repeatedly spit during his previous term, and am keenly aware of the people he keeps around him and in his ear, who all seem to see women as incubators and possessions to subjugate. She told the outlet she had preemptively scheduled her appointment to be sterilized in October, claiming she was fully planning to cancel the surgery the day after the election, assuming Kamala won. Wow. Um, in describing her choice to Newsweek, the woman used language that suggested the elective surgery was forced upon her. With Trump's victory, we quickly learned that my choice to cancel the surgery had been taken from me, she said. This isn't a wanted procedure, but one of necessity due to the politics and subjugation coming our way. These people are so dramatic. Wow. On a post on the child free subreddit about the Newsweek article, women were lauding their decision to get sterilized as young as 21 years old, some throwing around extreme claims not even rooted in reality. Well, when you pass laws that murder women on a regular basis, what are you going to do? One Reddit user wrote with elaboration. I want to get sterilized so bad, but I don't have the money, and I don't want this procedure to come up in my parents' insurance, lamented another. Other women are coping with Trump's dominant election win with a good old-fashioned sex strike. So anyway, you all get the picture. This is from the New York Post. If you want to go find the article, you can read it. But there's a common theme going on here, and it's called, again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, mental illness. You're literally going to change your body forever because you're afraid of somebody's going to do something to you. That's crazy.
I'm kind of confused about this because I'm going to get a little personal here. I have 3 children.
Yeah.
We are all done having kids. And I have, some issues during those times of the month. And my doctor knows I've been going to him since I was 16. But he won't do a hysterectomy or tubal ligation or any of those procedures because if your body doesn't do it naturally, what happens is you are at an increased risk of osteoporosis earlier and further down the line. So if these women are getting these procedures in their 20s and 30s and my doctor won't do it and I'm over 40 with a history and I already have 3 beautiful children, they're going to run into a lot of problems later on. Like these people are going to come down with severe cases of osteoporosis and bone issues.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, there's a lot into all of that. It's really crazy. And I wasn't laughing at you when you were talking. I'm just kind of laughing and smiling at some of the things that I went back to the comments. And yeah, these people make me almost look normal, Karen said. That's what I was laughing at. And then let's see, Jay Chrisman said TDS is what they have. I thought I had a name for that person, but I totally forgot. But anyway, Dr. Monkey says, choose yourself. Get a hysterectomy to show Trump who's the boss. All procedures 50% off for the next week. Order yours now. Yeah, I mean, think about this. Some people at 21 years old, that would lead me to believe that the same doctors, like you were just talking about, Gina, the same doctors who would do something like this, if someone come into, say, your office and they said, hey, I want this done. And as a doctor, as a practitioner in the medical field of, gynecology, that this is life altering for anyone who does this, whether it has to be done or you're just doing it. And I think it's your moral obligation to explain this and say, listen, you might not feel this way 4 years from now or 8 years from now, and you might someday want a kid. At the same token, and where I'm going with this is these are the same types of doctors that are mutilating these young kids and cutting off their genitals and changing them into, or what they think they're doing, they're changing in, giving them mommy parts and giving the girls boy parts, daddy parts, which don't even function. So, but these have to be the same kind of doctors who would actually do this. And yes, you're absolutely right. Lab rats. This is what they're doing. And it's pretty disgraceful. And the last thing I'll say about this is that how many times have you all heard me say this about things like this? What is it an attack on? Does anyone remember? Does anyone know me well enough to know what I would say that this is an attack on what? Come on. You should know this. It's an attack on God's creation.
I was going to see if the people knew.
I said that all the time. I've said it over and over and over again. This is another perfect example of God's creation that is under attack. And well, how is this an attack on God's creation? Because if women sterilize themselves and do these life-altering things that they can't reverse, they're never, well, my wife knew, but they're never going to be able to have a kid again. And we're supposed to come together as man and wife and multiply. That was God's plan. That was God's creation. So again, not going off into the Bible realm. I'm just simply saying that this is how I think all the time. So for those out there who say, "Oh, you're just trying to be like the Dan Bonginos and everybody else," no, I'm not, because they don't talk like this. We're different. That's the cool thing about us. We're different, but we have a lot of the same beliefs. So there you go. That's just another one of those things that I see. I saw that story and I thought, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. You would literally destroy yourselves, your happiness, your future family tree, the branches on that family tree. I mean, you came from somewhere, all of your relatives to get to you. And now you're going to put an end. You're going to put a roadblock up permanently to where your family name from you can never be passed on, or your husband's or anyone else. So they can then adopt, but I would screen the so-called parents very closely. Yeah, they could adopt, but guess what? Unless other things have changed in their life, Joe, I don't want them around kids. Okay, so that's kind of like saying, I got to say this really slowly. Pete Buttigieg. I got it out without saying the wrong thing. Like taking him and his person that he calls his husband, and they had this baby that they're raising. How are they going to explain that that's not normal? They won't. They're going to explain it. Well, this is totally normal for two men to be married. So, yeah, well, but who's going to screen and who's going to deny them? I understand. I agree with you 100%, but we can't screen and do the things that need to be done correctly now, let alone put it upon someone to do that. So, I mean, we're doomed. That is me. Well, we could put you in charge of that, Joe. I'll tell you what, I'll be your first vote, buddy. I can tell you that right now, brother. You got my vote. I second that motion. So we'll all put that up there, Joe, for screening for the mentally ill that want to have children.
Liberal women.
And men too, I guess. I don't know. Oh yeah, better we screen them than God later on. Yeah, well, that's true, because once you die, it's too late. Don't waste your prayers on the dead. Waste your prayers. Well, not waste your prayers, but say your prayers for the living, because that's where they still have an option. When my mom had to have hers tied for medical reasons, it took months to get to it and a ton of docs involved.
Yeah, that's what I mean. My doctor won't do it. And I have some medical issues.
I'm sorry. I'll go ahead. Start over. I was looking at Monkey.
But I agree with you, George. I'm the same way. I mean, my husband even has his vasectomy after we had the third one, because I had a really rough pregnancy with Miss Emma. Miss Emma. And my doctor still won't give me a hysterectomy because it damages your body if it doesn't do it naturally.
Bad doctors. All doctors
my
should
doctor
do is
said, I'm doing this for you. Okay, I trust you.
I mean, there's some common sense doctors out there still, especially back in the old days, you know. I mean, let's be realistic here. They all still believed in big pharma up to a point, which is a really, really big business. But you know, they did what they did, but still, even back then, they had more common sense than they do now. Now it's all by the book.
My doctor is amazing.
Yeah, and there's not very many of them out there.
Yeah, we thought we lost Emma in the first trimester. I went to the hospital, everything. And I was heartbroken because they put it down. It's considered a natural abortion when that happens. That your body, yeah, that's what they wrote on the discharge paper, was my body was doing a natural abortion.
Never heard that.
She had no heartbeat. She had no yolk sac, which she should have had apparently at that gestational age. I They sent me home, went and saw my doctor. He said, let's see if your body passes it naturally. Um, Nothing really happened.
Yeah.
So we had to schedule the DNC, unfortunately. Doctor, I went in. He said, let's do an ultrasound just in case before we bring you over. Brought me in. The nurse was like, hold your breath. She did like 3 times. Held in. She's like, do you hear that? And I was like, no. She goes, that's a heartbeat. And I was like, what do you mean? And my doctor came in and he was like, congratulations, mom. And I was like, oh my God. And he said, this is why I choose, because it's not necessary to do an ultrasound prior, but
Yeah.
he does. And then later on in the pregnancy, we were talking about, because they have a test that they can put a needle in and check for Down syndrome.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, he's like, we're not doing it. And I'm like, okay. And my husband was like, and just wondering, he's like, any reason why? He goes, if it came back that, she was, would that change your decision on having her? And I said, no. He goes, then why do the test?
Yeah.
You're going to love her no matter what. He's a really great doctor. He's from Lebanon. He's a Lebanese doctor. Very, very family orientated. Great guy.
Well, you got to watch out for them. Some of them they're into the mafia too now. You got to watch them Lebanese. I know some Lebanese. Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Did I just put them like, I think I did. I think I put
Did you
them
do it
on in
again like the monkeys, Joe?
I don't know. What is my wife talking about? She said the wording is so wrong. Is she talking about what Monkey put up there, or I don't know?
No, I think maybe the natural abortion, because
Yeah,
that's what
we've
the
never
hospital.
heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
never did
weird.
either. It like broke my heart, but I didn't like the way they worded it, because it wasn't like I was choosing that. You know what I mean? Like that's just my
Yeah.
body.
I'm
You know what I
curious.
mean? But
Has
yeah.
has anyone else heard that phrase that she said? Because I never have. I'm just curious. I'm not saying she's wrong or she's lying. I'm just saying I've never heard that. I'm just curious. Is that something in the Northeast, or is that something the natural abortion? That's what the wife
Yeah.
was talking about. Yeah, because I think the more common term would be a miscarriage. No matter what it was for, it wasn't
That's what
viable.
I thought.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
But
you know, who knows? Maybe it is a
yeah,
thing. I've just never heard of it. That's pretty wild.
I didn't. She's my 3rd kid. I never heard of that. I mean, I've had plenty of friends and all that stuff, but it was definitely that made me cry when I read that, and I was like, oh my God, that
Oh,
was
she
tough.
says, yes, we have heard it. I don't think you recall it though. Oh, that's possible. So she'll remind me. But anyway, I was going back to, yeah, and Boston does have good hospitals, Francis was
Yep.
saying. And yeah, and it's weird because we hear a lot about like some medical studies and stuff down here in the Midwest that come out of the Boston area all the time. So yeah, I'm very familiar with they have some good hospitals. Like we have
Um,
Washington University here where a lot of the doctors and go to. So Wash University is really big here up in the St. Louis area in Missouri. So that's a very
yep.
prestigious place like St. Louis University, Mizzou. You can go there for a lot of, if you want to become a vet. So a lot of good things in different states. But yeah, Boston is definitely known for some good studies and
Yeah.
medical
When Miss
studies and
Emma had
hospitals.
her open heart surgery, and I was like freaking out beforehand, and my dad would be like, honey, people literally travel from all over the world, the globe, to come
Yeah.
to Boston Children's Hospital. She's
Yeah.
in the best hands that God could put her in. She will be okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, and thank God she's here, so
Yeah.
it all worked
She's my
out. But yeah,
miracle
crazy.
baby. She gave me a
Exactly.
heart attack in the beginning and a heart attack in the middle.
Oh,
I'm
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
oh,
Monkey
yeah.
said lost stars at the end of the first trimester. Sorry to hear that.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. And, and going back to the story, when you hear us talk about it, there's empathy and sympathy in there because we truly care about these things. Just having a conversation about some of the stuff that we've maybe never heard of or things that we've experienced. But then to hear, oh, well, because Donald Trump, orange man bad, has become president, I'm going to go alter my whole entire body and
See, you
my
would think they
future
would
over that. I don't get
think
it.
differently. Instead of thinking that way, I feel like I'd be like, "Oh, we need more people who think like me. Let's populate the world more with people that think like me."
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
know. I mean, you should go both ways.
Well, prayers, Francis, for your mom there.
Spontaneous abortion.
Yep.
It could have been that, Camo Wife, but I know abortion was in there, and it broke my heart on the discharge papers.
Yeah, now that phrase I've heard, but not, yeah, okay. So, but
Natural.
anyway, like I said, it's not, oh, it kind of goes back to the point that I made before is that we can have a conversation and be wrong or maybe not know something, and we all can talk about it without being mad or attacking each other. And
Yeah.
left can't do that. I've never heard of it, but I didn't say it wasn't so. I just said, that's new. I wanted to know because now I learned something.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah. All good. We had a rainbow baby.
Oh.
Childbirth is a miracle. Yes. Spontaneous abortion is also a diagnosis code. Yep. Karen said. Thank you,
Okay.
Karen. Yes, indeed. JC. So, but again, I don't know. And that's why I associate it so easily to evil and the destruction of everything that is good because it is God's creation. And that's why, when I sit down and I think about these specific things, it comes to mind. And I've told everybody this before. I'm nobody special. I just see things different and I think about things differently. I can look at every story and I can pull something from it. I'll be one of those people that say, why, you'll hear people say, why did I have to go through that? And I'm not talking about anybody that said anything in the chat. I'm just talking openly about things that I have commented about in my own personal life. And people will say, well, how could I lose, my loved one? And you're like, I don't know. I can't answer. I'm not even going to try to answer, but God has a plan. And maybe it happened for a reason. Maybe it's going to put you in another direction. And it's up to you to stay positive, or you can be negative about it and look at it in a way that, well, I just can't recover from this. And I'm mad at God now because he took everything from me. And I choose to look at it differently. I look at it like, well, he needed whoever that was more than I did. And he's the one who creates us all. So he has the right to take us at any moment. And you've all heard me also say that when certain things happen in our lives, like we suffer, whether it be through cancer or other things, I really don't say too much about that except to pray for people and hope for maybe a miracle or, healing.
I think it
Because
teaches people compassion.
it does, but like when Christ died on the cross, we can't even fathom the pain and the suffering that he went through that whole process. So that's why I always avoid trying to compare myself. Like, why do I have to suffer? If I get cancer someday, I'm not going to say that because, well, why did he have to go through what he did? Because he did it for me. So I don't know. It's just kind like I said, some of the thoughts that go through my head, it's kind of weird, but that's who I am, and that's how I look at it. So, um, Joe said it still burns my butt when the left is fighting for what they call reproductive rights. It's an oxymoron stance, if you ask me. No, it is actually. I mean, you're absolutely right. They don't have the right to murder. No, and that's what they're shooting for. That's what they're pushing for, and they make light of it by a lot of these things that they're doing. And you heard me make a joke about it as I was reading the story. Well, she's in the adult industry and she's worried about getting pregnant. Well, duh. I mean, hello. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're talking about people who they need to straighten themselves out first and foremost before they can help anyone else out. So, while we're on this, we're going to start wrapping this up. I pulled this off today too, off of social media. It was on X somewhere, or Reels or something, but it ended up on X. And I want everyone to see what when we were talking earlier about kids and how they act. When you see a young kid act out, this is not something that comes natural. This is a learned behavior. I've always said this. I'm going to drop us down real quick and play this, and everyone watch this, and you tell me what you think. Again, kids don't pick this up on their own. This is a learned behavior by the people who raised them. And these people who raised these kids should be ashamed, because this is really sad. And the kids are already messed up in the head mentally, and they really need help. And apparently the parents aren't the right people to give them that help. So let me drop us down and I'll play this for us real quick. What they're saying there, I heard, you probably heard several of them say, don't touch her. Don't touch her. You don't know what she's going through. Don't touch her. Oh, I can tell you what she's going through.
Mommy and daddy or boyfriend, somebody's doing something at home.
Kids don't act like that on their own. Okay. So you take little kids, toddlers, when they can walk, let's just say they can walk at 1 year, and you can take one of every color at the same age, and they're all going to run to the center, and they're all going to play together, and they're going to hug each other and kiss on each other, and they're going to play with the same toys. They're not going to know anything. Do the same thing at 2 years old, 3 years old. As long as the parents don't intervene and put anything into their heads, they're never going to know anything different than what they have seen in front of them, except a person that they can get along with and they're okay with. Until we, as parents, interject our thoughts and our hatred and all of these other things, this is a product of racism and hatred. That's exactly what that is. She has seen this from someone in her family, whether it's mama or it's daddy or a fill-in or a grandparent, somebody, whoever's raising this kid, that is the product of that. That's a product of a bad upbringing. And how many times have you seen this? And this is not just a black thing. I've seen it in white people too, that they're holding their babies and they're dropping F-bomb after F-bomb. And these kids are old enough to understand exactly what they're hearing. They're going to repeat it eventually. And then guess what they're going to do when they get to be about 9 or 7, 8, 9, 10 years old? They're going to start having the same reactions and behavior to people around them when they don't agree with what's going on. So not only do we have mental illness in this country, we have this to deal with. And this is probably a byproduct of that over many, many decades, year after year. And here we are, and we're going to reap what we've sown as a people across the world, as mankind. And I see a lot more of this in kids nowadays. And if I ever saw my kid doing that, oh, I'm going to blister the bottom. I can guarantee you that there's going to be hell to pay. And there's going to be punishment. There's going to be a talking to. There's going to be an explanation of why we don't act this way, why we wouldn't do this, blah, 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 on and on and on until that said behavior is broken. Okay. So again, when we see this, this is again a byproduct of what society has accepted and deemed normal. There is nothing normal about that whatsoever. That's a scary thought, to have people stand around, especially adults, saying, you don't know what she's going through. Don't touch her. Really?
Yeah. If I don't know. I feel if I saw that going on, I probably would have, if I had a coat on, I probably would have taken my coat off, went up behind that little girl and just wrapped the coat around her and just brought her to the ground.
Yeah. I mean, and this is a Walmart. I don't even know.
In trouble for it.
Yeah. I don't even know where it was at. Yeah. Walmart. I mean, nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to do anything. And I'll say this on an ending thing. This goes back to what I've said about concealed carry before. And yeah, I know it's like making a big major jump. but it's really not. I always tell everybody, be very careful when you're concealed carry. Train yourselves, be situational awareness, use a manufactured, you know, rounds. Make sure that they're all uniform, which means they're all exactly the same, whether it's Friachi, whatever it is that you buy. It could be Remington, but put the same ones, all of them, all 15 or 9, 17, whatever magazine you have. Make sure that they're all uniform and you've bought them from a manufactured place. Don't do reloads, because if you ever have to go to court, they're going to use that reload possible and the force that comes out of each one, because they're going to break it down by the distance that the person was shot. All this stuff plays into a role in that. Go out and get yourself insurance, because even if you defend yourself and you do everything absolutely right, they're going to come after you. Even if they find you not guilty, they're going to come after you civilly, and they can still get you and take stuff from you just because someone lost their lives. So now we'll jump back to Daniel Penny now in New York. What did he do? He tried to help people on a train. He choked the guy out. There was a lot of stuff talked about today in the thing. He got involved. And what happened? He's possibly facing time in prison right now because he was helping people out. He served his country. He was a Marine, always will be a Marine, and he did the right thing. And he helped people because that's what he does. That's what he was trained to do. And so many people spoke in favor of him because they feared for their lives. But again, what's my point? Well, these are things that you get involved in. You have to defend yourself. They're going to come after you. Daniel Penny is helping himself and other people on the train. They're coming after him. And what happens if, like Gina just said, or any of us tried to help that girl and we put hands on her? They're going to come after you too. That is the problem with society. Not only did we get to witness what was the byproduct of a bad, adults in her life and a bad atmosphere that she had, her surroundings, we also have to worry about if we enter ourselves into a situation and try to help someone that we are liable now. And that's where we've gone wrong. We have to be able to say, this kid has to be stopped, because number one, if she breaks that glass and maybe she slings her arm around and the next bottle, she falls down and cuts her arm open or hits somebody and injures them, we need to put a stop to it. Or this guy coming onto the train, if Daniel Penny wouldn't have taken him down to the ground and put a body triangle on him and then did the rear naked choke, and from what I'm hearing today, he didn't even have a full squeeze on him. He was, he was conscious most of the time. He wasn't totally out through testimony and film or video that they have. But again, you still have to be careful. So you shoot somebody, even though they did everything, you told them, stop, don't come at me, don't do this, don't do that. And you did everything by the book and you still shot and took their life, or maybe just injured them, maimed them for the rest of their life. They're still going to come after you. Again, that's the society that we have produced, we've allowed, and we've accepted. Well, not us in particular, but as a whole in general, we have, because most people just go along with it instead of saying no. If you're stupid enough to do something like this, then stupid is, whatever that phrase is.
Stupid is as stupid does.
You're gonna pay the price. Look up Brian Camp in Massachusetts, killed home invader and found not guilty, miracle in Massachusetts. Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be. But don't shoot blindly out a door when someone's banging on your door, like we've talked about before. Let them come in the house and make sure they don't get back outside. So if they're there to do you harm, kind of like those 3 guys from, I think it was in Chicago. They were banging on the door saying that they were police and they were just trying to get into the house and break in. They weren't police. And then the guy starts shooting through the door, and then I think he hit one of them maybe, and they all took off and just like scrambled. But I would never advise you do that, because that stray round misses one of those 3 that it's intended for, and it goes across the street through a window or through a wall and hits a kid sleeping in the bed. So you got to be careful. Folks, children are inherently evil, and that is why they must be trained in all aspects of living in this world. Proverbs 22:6. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with punishing them or, a swat on the old butt. There you go. That's the way it should be. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. And yeah, I came across that when I'm like, ooh, I got to add that. So that was another one, but that was an easy one. I just didn't expect the Joe Biden thing to take up my whole show. It literally took up my whole show for the most part. So um, anyway, that's pretty much all I've got. I would like to say that I had a great Thanksgiving. Got to eat lots of stuff. Had turkey. My favorite side dish is green bean casserole. Although I did have some sweet potato marshmallow. We had pumpkin pie, and then we had like a caramel pumpkin. I don't know. There was a couple pies up there. We had cranberries, which I love cranberries, and I like them out of a can, like the ocean spray cranberries that you drop out of a can, you cut them.
Yep.
That's my favorite. But now my
Yep.
mother makes her own, and I don't like them, but everybody else likes it. So I eat mine. They all eat hers, and I don't know what it is, but whatever she puts in hers, I just don't like it. And she's the type of person that'll make that salad and she'll put like nuts in it and grapes and raisins. And I'm like, oh, that's not a salad to me. A salad to me is like some lettuce, and I like my
Lettuce, tomato.
bacon bits and cheese. Yeah, tomato and my ranch dressing. And now I'm in heaven. But
Mhm.
anyway, so, but yeah, we had a really good Thanksgiving, and I ate off of it for probably 2 days. I don't know, something like that. And it was all gone because, like I said, we only make so much of the turkey because we didn't do the whole turkey. But we had a really good Thanksgiving. Everybody enjoyed. We were thankful for so much. And, but yeah, it's one of the favorite times of year because then you start seeing all the smoke from the fireplaces and you can smell the burning wood. That's one thing I
Yep.
love about this area. Love it.
We've been
So
smelling that for a month now in Massachusetts.
yeah,
That's because
y'all are.
we're on
It's because of
fire.
yeah, your fields and everything are burning, but this is from heat. This is from
I
wood
made
stoves.
I made, a turkey, a
Yeah.
ham, and then I made my mashed potatoes. I made candied yams. I make delicious squash, like I puree it with like heavy cream and cinnamon and all that yummy stuff. And then my mother-in-law brings her amazing green bean casserole.
Yeah.
And she brought a broccoli casserole this year, which was to die for. We had so much food.
Yeah.
And then I made apple
Um,
crisp. I cooked for 2 days. I was exhausted by the end of the second day.
oh, Karen did the old switcheroo on me. She went over to YouTube, CommieTube. She said, "Yep, ocean spray, no berries." Exactly. She knows what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
talking
my
about.
dad said that. My dad came, who reminds me of you to a T.
Yeah.
And he knows I make all my own stuff. And he looked, he's like, cranberry sauce. I said, the best, straight out of the can and sliced once a year, you know?
Yep.
There's just, but we also live in cranberry heaven. Like the
Yeah.
cranberry bogs, like Ocean Spray is, I think I went there for my middle school field trip. You know what I mean? But straight out of the can, that's it.
I happen to love that fruity salad and normal salads too. Love me some rabbit food. And Monkey goes, "I made a plate, then my fat ass ate it." Or that's what he meant to say. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, we always had the rolls too, but yeah, I
Yep.
think my favorite, I have to have the green bean casserole. That without that, but I can eat that any time of year. But for
I,
Thanksgiving,
gra- my
I have to have it.
My
That's
mother-in-law
really good.
makes it and it always tasted different than other people's, like, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, she finally gave me the secret.
Wow. Well, that's one of my favorites. And another thing that I like too, and Tammy had just made this for me not too long ago, but I like taking potatoes. They can be like the yellow golden potatoes or the red potatoes, but doesn't really matter. But you cut them, go ahead and peel them, and then slice them up into like, just slices about yay thick, and then put them in a big pan with milk and butter and cheese. Oh my goodness!
Mm,
And a lot of people call it, I think, au gratin or something,
au
but I just call
gratin.
them cheese potatoes because I want American cheese on them, and I want the real butter that we
Not
have
cheddar?
is Irish butter. No, no, I don't. No, that's why I said mine's different. That's why I don't call them by that name because normally the recipes call for
It's
that.
orange.
Yeah, I like mine just regular American cheese, and oh, that is the best. No, I haven't got no deer yet. I've been I've been too busy to go lately because of you know, the businesses on the side, just keeping just so much going on right now. But saw all the deer during bow season, and then it just went like dead as soon as rifle season started. But all my neighbors got, I think I told you guys and gals that they got a 13 pointer. They got an 8 pointer, which was probably less than a football field away from me. I mean, their property border, their uh, T post and their barbed wire and everything just separates our property. That's how close they are. And they saw them during rifle. I heard the shots, but I didn't see anything but squirrels and some owls and some blue jays and a bunch of turkey. But I let the turkey go. So, but anyway, um, that's no big deal. We still got plenty of hunting to go. We got up all the way up until like this, trying to think January maybe. So I got a couple more weeks so we can put some does or something in the freezer yet. I just got to catch a break so I can get out and do something. Say that, but I only buy Irish butter or Amish butter. But yeah, we use that
Oh,
Kerry Gold. I think that's what we use. If I don't
yeah, and the
know if
green and gold.
yeah, we
Trump just posted on Truth Social.
what do you post?
I'm totally against the once great and powerful U.S. steel being bought by a foreign company. In this case, Nippon Steel of Japan. Through a series of tax incentives and tariffs, we will make U.S. steel strong and great again, and it will happen fast. As president, I will block this deal from happening. Buyers beware.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, we need to keep that stuff here. So Joe said I had a woodpecker set up shop next to me last week. Talk about noise. Oh yeah. Yep, that will do it. And you guys going to raid Chris tonight? Is he talking about
Oh yeah, Chris has a big panel on tonight.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know
Morning
how to
Mayhem.
do raids. I don't know how to transfer everyone back that way.
Yeah, I don't either. I have to learn how to do that someday. But I do need to figure out how to do that because I don't see anything in here that says I can do that.
It's got to be on the Rumble side.
I think it is. I think it's from Rumble because we use StreamYard. That's probably we go through Rumble, but we're the platform that we use to do all of our stuff with is StreamYard. So that's why we can't do it. We don't have that option from here. They're probably doing it from the Rumble Studio,
Rumble
which
Studio.
we don't care for that much. They don't have all the bells and whistles that we have over here on StreamYard or Riverside FM, which I also have. We just never use it. That's pretty cool too. So, um, what's his full name? Yeah,
Well, his name
I'll
is
probably
Chris, but he's My Morning Mayhem.
yeah, My
You can find
Morning
him on
Mayhem
Rumble,
over on Rumble.
YouTube.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, JC, I'll probably stop in here. We're going to end this one now anyway. And like I said, just wanted to talk a little bit about Turkey Day, and since the Biden stuff kind of took up everything. And by the way, we had again several people that we get our content from. So if you see them at Maze Moore, definitely follow them on X and let them know that you like their content, and do the same thing to the Proud Elephant US. It's another good one, and the Western Lensman. A lot of good accounts out there. It's just a few that we use a lot. So thanks to all of them, and everyone who joined us in the chat tonight on X and Rumble, and then over there on YouTube. We really appreciate it. And we'll see everyone Wednesday night again. And just keep your head on a swivel. Remember situational awareness. That's huge anymore. And be very careful. And yeah, maybe we'll see some of you over there on that other show. And I'll drop in and at least say hi. So that'd be kind of cool. Get a bunch of us in there. So thank you, 17 George. Appreciate it. We try, and hopefully we can grow from here. So spread the word to all your friends, like-minded people, and even some of those that are on the left. Maybe we can change some minds and convert some people. So But anyway, thanks to each and every one of you for your support. Really appreciate it. And we couldn't do it without you. Angels on your pillow too there, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully Lori Lee's still in here. I don't know. I haven't heard from her in a while, so I
Said
don't
a
know if she
little
fell
while
asleep.
ago. Yeah, she said good night.
All right. Well, anyway, everyone have a great one. And as always, take care of yourselves. God bless each and every one of you. And God bless this great country, this great republic that we call the United States of America. We'll see you all Wednesday night. Take care, my friends.